Jade everybody else except that looks like BBE, who are going to be prioritizing picking up those Fireflies in Secret Tunnel. And here's the thing, Duncan, they're uncontested.
Yes, indeed. However, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to make full use out of the fact that they are going uncontested, as there's just nobody there. Because although it's nice to have Fireflies off the rip, if you don't have a team to actually look to fight, or a third-party opportunity available to you, you potentially lose out on some of the value of having gotten those Fireflies.
Because there's no one even anywhere near them that they can potentially run into. Like, KLA are going to be pretty close to some of those other teams. They can hop up into Shipwreck, they can loot around there and then push on forward. However, we are going to be seeing two teams dropping on Money Sport. Artisans going to be seeing immediate action. IDC and HLG as well as FPX now drawn in. All of these teams wanting to control this area for the money, as we're going to see the scale rush from Lexan actually interrupted. Cuckoo coming in with an absolutely gorgeous engagement. Lexan now feeling pressured, having to utilize that Zip sustainability, holding onto the Katana, wanting to see whether or not he's going to be pressured into the spacing. Goes for that red whiff to push HLG's hand further away, but here's FPX showing up to the party. MVP have been able to find 2 kills, but FPX with the better engagement coming in off of the back of that Tesla V1. We're going to see the enchantment hit onto HLG's hand, so he's not able to dodge away from the follow-up of the R&B on the halberds. FPX making this composition look absolutely natural.
Very nicely done by FPX here. This is the timing attack that I love to talk about, being able to come in at the exact right time, the timings that are so unbelievably tight to be able to hit this third party and be able to come away with as much value as possible. IDC did manage to pick up a kill for themselves, but unfortunately they did end up going down. But JL, they're looking to get aggressive here. They're chopping down with the Viper ult. They get the stun onto MVP LTZ, and he's locked up by not only the Viper stun, but the Tessa ultimate as well. It looks as though MVP, they've been ready, they've been farming that money, they managed to buy themselves up a Moonbane charm, and it looks as though JL may have just been hit with a bit of a surprise. They lose 2 members, and MVP, although they were in a really rough situation, it looks as though they're going to come away with this with all of the kills, all of the money. BK though eats a lot of damage from those dual halberds and gets overheld twice in a row, and JL absolutely obliterating him, and a huge parry coming out from LTZ, but it doesn't look... Ooh, no, XI trying to salvage the situation, but doesn't look as though he's going to be able to do anything about that. Very nicely done by MVP.
That Bane's Breath, unfortunately, just meaning that those kills immediately turned against him, as we're going to see 5-2-1 losing Yin as the fight begins. Pampy coming with the horizontal, trying to just space these players away from being able to interact with that Tesla V1. It's immediately actually going to be the Wu Chen teleport out from 5-2-1 side to be able to try and pick up this revive, as yet again we're going to see that potential third party come on through from FPX. Like we've said, these players are absolute professionals at being able to come in and pilot this third party, and they've been able to catch on to DPC. As a result, that Wu Chen is going to be going down immediately. Plan B taken to absolute town, as we're going to now see the 1v1. Water getting the reset shield from his Wu Chen, going to be able to use that to pick up the revive onto Dongqing, as now the 1v1 turns into Xiaohu versus Deng Zai. We're going to see the F2 connect onto, allowing the Viper to try to move away, using the Greatsword Focus Strike to try and find the spacing to push him far enough back, but he's still going to go down. Again, we see the R&B on the halberds off of the CC from Water. FPX finding kill after kill, locking down these players. Water finding a parry onto Pampy. They drop the Bane's Breath just to get insurance that they don't have to worry about being interrupted by another team, as they were going pretty low and they had invested a lot of those ultimates. FPX playing smart.
Very, very nice. They managed to take down DPCQ. They have that Moonbane in the back pocket, ready to go for the potential third party. And what do you know? 5-2-1 coming in, trying to get that timing attack, as I talked about. But they are ready for it. They are not going to be put in a bad situation. No, sir. And they have that Moonbane. They drop it down, and they come away with even more kills, taking them up to 9 eliminations so far in this game.
And we haven't even had the first realm of Yang.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. FPX has been doing so well so far this tournament. I mean, they're sitting at the top with, or in 5th place total with 114 points. Excellent showing from FPX. I love to see FPX perform well. They've been one of those teams that have done very, very well in the previous splits, but occasionally just not been able to close it out, not been able to secure those wins when it comes to the bi-weeklies. But here we are going on over to IDK versus MVP. Sachiko taking a decent amount. Oh, a little bit more than a decent amount. Quite a substantial amount of damage. Getting taken down, forcing Ryoman to have to send out that Wu Chen port, take his teammate to safety. Our MVPs from the previous match getting cooked by MVP here. MVP Hong, BK, and LTZ sitting on 7 kills as well. They've been doing really well so far this game. That very nice Moonbane to counteract 521's aggression initially. Very nicely done. They're pretty stacked up as well. They're looking pretty stacked. They're going to be heading over into the realm of Yang.
Yeah,
as
they've
well,
got
I'd
2
imagine.
ults.
Yep.
They only had to invest that Tumultuous ultimate in that fight. They've still got the Decatur, and crucially, they've still got the Zip V2 as well. Like, honestly, you're probably feeling a little on the fence if you've only got the Decatur, but having that Zip, nah, you don't have to worry. You're going to be able to have that sustainability to be able to just face tank through all of the ultimates coming through from the other team. That's the problem with Zip V2, right? You have to have a way of forcing it to pop as soon as possible, but then you also have to have another ultimate in the back pocket to be able to actually translate into kills. It's so hard for a lot of these compositions that rely on just having one burst window. It's why Transformers really has struggled historically up against Sand Siphon, because they have their initial burst window of the Tian Hai, and then it goes into just trying to protect the Tian Hai once he drops out of the ultimate with the Yushan. In fact, it's the reason why we see when Transformers go up against Sand Siphon, they double ult. They drop both the Yushan and the Tian Hai ultimate a lot of the time at the exact same time to try and pressure that Zip down as quickly as possible, as TE slowly but surely working their way through Shadow Jade. Not a lot of loot has been picked up here. Oh, what did they get?
Gold Soul Jade for them. It looks as though that was probably either...
It could have been Armor Piercer.
It could have been Armor Pierce.
Yeah.
It's one of those range weapon legendary jades. Because of the shape, you can always tell that it's a range weapon jade.
Was it VVV who picked it up?
I'm not too sure.
If it was VVV who picked it up, it could have been Burst Hour. Because he does have that purple bow in the back pocket. As it does look like TE gonna be starting to maneuver away. Do we have a Realm of Yang spawning? That we do. It's covered by IDC's giant red circle. Yes. A little bit larger than the Realm of Yang entrance, but it's definitely not going to be dissuading all of these players from gravitating towards that area. KLA, VNGC, and TE all wanting a slice of that pie, as Realm of Yang is going to be spawning up directly in the middle of them. Are we going to see a grief attempt coming on through? Do BBE know that MVP are waiting inside that purple bush? Has someone grapple hovered over to see whether or not there's a player there? JL also going to be rolling on up towards Sunwing to try to pick that one up too. We're going to see the Yodo blade come through to try and make sure that everyone's going to be able to get through unimpeded. It does look, however, like there is going to be a little bit of a fight going on down. However, we do know that there's definitely going to be a fight between TE and VNGC.
And it looks as though the other Realm of Yang had IDC versus KLA as well. Interesting matchup. We are looking at VNGC versus TE. Roy using a longsword wind slash from the back. Oh! TXJ with a huge F2 from the Yoto, transitioning that right into the slash from the ultimate. Roy zipping ultimate has been popped here. He does... Ooh, okay, he does manage to make a considerable amount of space, though. He's not... Ooh, the Yueshan, he keeps slamming him next to these pillars. He's trying to find a moment to heal.
There's no more
to get a reset, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do so. Loves does get taken down as well. Roy he's under a lot of pressure. The turret from TXJ, it's just so much damage. Roy he's been taken down, and Asbon, he's in a 1v3 situation, and it's looking pretty good.
There is no more ults. There were no more ults available for VNGC. Cannonball punching through Sand Siphon. And the way that they do it is they apply so much pressure. They get to play off of the fact that that Yushan ultimate and the Ferrier ultimate outlast the Zip V2. They overlap the Yodo and the Yushan ultimate to pressure the Zip into using the V2 as quickly as possible, even using the V3 drop, but the Ferry doesn't get into mech until she sees that that Sedated Soul is going to be removed from VNGC's side. They don't have the Tumult ultimate either to be able to block the ranged projectiles coming on through when the Ferry gets into the mech and is able to use those cannons. And the second that that Takeda doesn't have that Zip keeping him up with the ultimate, he is absolutely wiped from the face of Ram. As now we're going to be seeing TXJ coming in with that Yodo ultimate, trying to catch on to these players that are looking from KLA to push onto LYD. The zoning potential is good. The V3 Ferry mech comes on down. We're going to see the Tumult ultimate now being invested as we're actually going to see TXJ outside of the Yodo ultimate. Knows he's vulnerable, hops into the V3. He's on the other side of the wind wall and as a result is able to find these shots and keep the players of KLA pressured away. KLA not able to utilize that Tumult ultimate to isolate TE. In fact, it's the absolute opposite that occurs. TE is such a smart team. TXJ such a good Yodo. I love the fact that they're using the V3 to set up the Yodo to be able to reposition once her ultimate runs on out and she potentially becomes vulnerable without that teleport as KLA's peak backs into a corner, backs up against the wall against two players from TE, tries to find the disengage, but T is able to chase them down. And Duncan, that is a very short Vermilion Bird's Might. Those wings went right off of KLA's back.
Absolutely. Did you see that damage coming through from the F2 on TXJ? F2 Yotohime has just recently, it's received buffs. It is now, quite frankly, just extremely good. It tracks you so unbelievably well. It's as if you lunge across the terrain, across the entire.
You start the animation map on Morris, you end up on Hollow.
Just zoom. It's literally so fast, and it's really, really hard to dodge. And which I mean, in trios, you don't have as much stamina as you would in solos. In trios, it just becomes even harder, not having as much stamina to work with, and then because it gives you such a long amount of time to actually use it, you throw down the blade, you have 8 or 9 seconds to use it. It's a lot. It provides so much pressure throughout that timer.
I mean, there is a trade-off though, right? You don't immediately get the golden focus.
That is true.
There is a window. It is very similar to the Takeda F, where you have to utilize the first catch of the F and then have that timing in the threat. Know that you're going to be proactive with the F2 and sort of anticipate how your opponent is going to play around it. But TXJ is a very smart player who knows the movements of a lot of his opponents. He was running F1 when all of our other Yodos and MVPL were running F3. As we're going to have a look and see, does TE realize one of these things is not on that team? Roy he is in a world of danger, yet he rotates the camera. He knows that the full squad of T are there, but so too are we going to see IDC and BBE now try to run away. Zay trapped inside the zone, taking so much damage. Zay forced to drop the Tumult ultimate. BBE's not going to use the Yodo ultimate to work around it, as we even see the investment of the V3. BBE popping every single ult that they have available to be able to track down that Tumult, and they do manage to dunk Zay down. Now it's just going to be Brandoro, Lexan, the next two for Brandoro going inside that zone. He knows the gig is up, trying to find the scale rush, but he's unfortunately going to be interrupted before he can even find the first charge of focus to carry him off the wall. That Yushan Spear Stagger, the absolute bane of every player trying to disengage.
Yes, indeed, that was very unfortunate. I was about to start talking about IDC and IDK. IDK, unfortunately, they've been taken down relatively early in this match. And then IDC was actually sitting on 5 kills. Although they've gone down in the realm of Yang, it appeared as though they've managed to get 2 soul blooms for both Lexan and Zay, but Brandoro was still missing one, and I think that's why they opted to try and take this fight against BBE. And it just didn't go in their favor, unfortunately. Brandoro didn't have any grapples. It didn't look as though he had any means of actually following up and trying to actually make something happen. But, well, it is what it is. 5 kills, not too bad. Perhaps they can transition this into some absolutely pop-off games going into the 5th and 6th as we're on the 4th game of the day. But you know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is time yet again for the realms of Yang. It looks as though KLA is lurking outside.
Hello, jabbing.
Yes, the jabbing.
We know you so well. It's time for Realm of Yang, but here's the thing. FPX, they're fine with not taking Realm of Yang. It's time for them to put their next strategy into play, and that's get a flamer from one of these Morris Blessings. FPX immediately, every single time we see them, they will take the first Realm of Yang, and then they'll try and just posture up to be able to control one of these Morris Blessings and pick up that flamer to bring with them into late game. FPX and TE always have the same strategy. Go for those flamers, pick them up, use them to zone all of the players into that corruption tick damage. This time, however, it's not free. They're having to fight for it. 5-2-1, wanting the armor upgrade. Yin trying to come in with a huge stun. Were they able to pick it up? No. The pressure coming through from FPX. Pampy, unfortunately, going to be without that that purple armor, going to have to just back on off, as it does look like TE were able to get their Realm of Yang for absolute free because of the focus going down on top of the Morris Blessing. BBE Snack! Does he manage to get the full Yoda ult? Or did it get cancelled by the Tesla V1? That's really unfortunate, as BBE Snack now inside that Farrier mech, the V3, allowing the Yodo to be able to try and find a safe disengagement. Exide going for the double jump over to avoid that initial damage coming through from the pulse. Going to go down to the V3 cannon coming on through. LMB on that fan, pushing all of these players, scooping them into position a little bit closer. AS trying to push Fat Milk into where the Farrier mech is going to be able to have that line of sight on them, as we're going to see the attempted jump parry come through from Fat Milk. JL going for the red flash back to back, no one throwing a focus, and as a result, BBE are going to be able to come in with reinforcements. Snack fully recovered, joining his player, and we're going to see BBE come out on top. This is, again, another time we see BBE take a fight incredibly close with their backs to that corruption tick damage. They are playing to try and be as silent as possible. The problem is, a lot of other teams also have that same idea. If you didn't go for that Realm of Yang, you want to try and play as far away from where you think everyone else is going to be as possible, because that second Realm of Yang, it has Mystic Might.
You're absolutely right. But one thing that we see, or one of the reasons why a considerable number of these teams opt to not go for that second Yang is not only because of the team composition that they're running. You know, your Viper team comms don't typically opt to go in as they have more power and more potential outside. They can come in and skirmish, they can assassinate certain players from different teams, etc. But another main reason is that as the game has progressed, the second gate of Yang, there aren't as many players left on the map.
Yeah, there's also not as much room, so the odds of being third party rise exponentially.
Exactly, so you don't want to be caught in a Yang depletion situation when there's fewer fights going on the map and there's fewer players to actually take down and get those soul blues. But speaking of fights, we've got TE versus BBE just back-to-back fighting. It doesn't look as though they really want to. They keep getting forced into fights, but they keep doing really well. But it looks as though they're doing the same here, taking a considerable amount of shield and health off of that Yueshun. But he's forced to use his ultimate Ibin. He's so unbelievably low coming out of that Farrier mech. He's trying his best to stay on the move. He did have that multi-defiance, it seems, but it's not going to be enough. And Ibin gets taken down. The Yoto F2 doing work yet again. Thankfully, though, Fat Milk and Snack are both going to be able to disengage and potentially look to try and find that rebirth charm out of the shop. It looks as though he was heading straight over to the shop. TE aren't opting to try and chase them down. They're not looking for it. They're happy with that one kill that they picked up, and they're going to be going into that end game pretty set, pretty ready to go. MVP as well, not looking to be in all that bad of a situation. They have 7 kills to their name. Could be better on the armor front. Having 2 blue armors isn't the best. Going into endgame, we call them blueberries, but we'll have to see if they manage to pick something up. But this is a quick replay on IDK's fight, the fight that knocked them out of this game. Sachiko getting locked up by this Tessa. And it looks as though that was all she wrote. They get taken down there by 5-1. Very nicely done. 8 kills to their name as well. So aggressive. 5-1. We've been talking about them as a pretty solid, pretty aggressive team. They're from the Southeast Asian region, the SEA region, and we all know SEA. They love to get aggressive. They go 100 miles an hour all the time, just going in and out of every single fight. And they are no strangers. They are no strangers to fighting with their backs against the wall. And they've been doing pretty well. They obviously haven't been sitting atop the leaderboards, but they've definitely been putting the points up there. HLG Han, but not all that many kills for HLG so far, but look at these Soul Jades. 4 golden Soul Jades for Han, and then 2 for Cuckoo and Wide, respectively. Pretty stacked up. You've got that purple fan. Unfortunately, Han hasn't been able to get that gold ultimate status just yet, only on purple for the moment. Hopefully they're going to be able to level that up all the way to gold, as it enhances the Takeda's V3 ultimate a considerable amount once you do get it to that stage. It widens the hitbox and lengthens it as well. And not only that, but once it gets to that max range, if you get caught in it, it doesn't just push you back, it pushes you back and then hooks you and pulls you back towards it.
Ooh, FPX.
Oh no.
What a no! He's going for it. He's getting into position. He's going to try and use the F2.
He's trying his best to get as much money as he can. He does get this golden armor. Water's bound to be pretty happy about that. He's dropping Soul Jades. He's trying to go in and get the Soul Jades from the box and deny them from other players as well as... I don't know what that was. Ooh! It may have been the Mortal Defiance. Mortal Defiance for Water. Definitely... I'm not sure if you'd want to have it on FBX Water. Potentially putting it on to Wu Chen might be the better option. And then as the zone starts to close, closer and closer, getting closer quarters, would then swap it over to your Viper or to your Tessa, as at that point in the game, the Chen's ultimate loses a considerable amount of value the closer the zone.
MVP trying to come in now, taking a lot of pressure coming on through. We're going to see the cannon trying...
Taking a lot of cannon damage here. Hong. Only a blue cannon to his name for the moment, but he's still going to be able to make a considerable amount of use out of it, I'd imagine. Even if it's blue, you're still chilling. You're still going to be able to do a lot of damage. You see Don King up there with the white cannon. He's just throwing those cannon shots from afar, trying to pop these purple mushrooms. He is not bothered. He doesn't need a purple cannon. He's happy with just the white cannon, especially if you manage to get Flame Breath and Rupture Gale. Just being able to apply that fire tick onto the health bar is enough. You don't actually need the cannonball itself to do all that much damage. You just need to apply that fire tick. Not only does it do damage directly to the health bar, but it will also cut that healing a considerable amount. Healing being so important in these endgames. Healing from characters, from your zippings, for example, being able to heal yourself up without actually committing resources is always very, very valuable, as you not having resources in endgame can very easily kill you, can be at the end of you. If you don't have those resources, you are going to be in for a nasty.
Speaking about nasty surprises, this final zone is it's going to be absolutely killer for all of these teams. With that Viper composition, plenty of high ground for everyone to be able to drop down from. We're going to see MVP now trying to come on through and trade blows with BBE on the hot opposite. Everyone now going to be trying to incite as many fights as possible to be able to burn through all of those resources, as we are going to see that Morris Blessing start to come into play, protected by the Wu Chen Wind Wall. Oh, someone popped one of those poison mushrooms, as we're going to potentially see that poison tick start to push on through these players, ignoring that shield, going straight for the health bar. Who's going to be able to walk away with it in intact. In fact, it looks like a little bit of range pressure was there, but not a lot of melee, as everyone now is just trying to posture on up, find themselves a safe spot, and just make sure to hold on to those ultimates as long as possible, as it does seem, Duncan, like we're in for a little bit of bully phase. No one wanting to outright find that approach, but when the zone pushes on forward, someone's going to be the team that everyone turns on to. No one, as a result, wanting to paint themselves too vulnerable, too easy a target to be chunked down on. FPX on the low ground. That is an incredibly risky position. Looks like they're just trying to play as quietly and out of sight as possible. TE, I tell you, these two teams, incredibly similar in terms of how they approach these final zones. Having the exact same idea. They know that everyone on the high ground are going to be taking pressure, and they're going to hold on to as many resources as possible.
Indeed, that's right. Speaking of high ground, we've got PvP here, right at the very, very top. They only have those blue armor. They have one purple on Snag, but they've been managing to stay pretty healthy atop that treehouse. But ooh,
KLA
this is getting a little bit aggressive down here. FPX, KLA. Looks as though KLA forced out, or was forced to use that to bulk ultimate to try and keep them safe, try and keep them healthy.
But this is smart, because FPX turned the attention on KLA and then used the Wuchen teleport. No one's looking for FPX, everyone's looking at KLA. That being said, Xiaohu actually going incredibly low, water force into using that V1 to be able to peel and create the space for his Wuchen to be able to recover. HLG, in the meantime, going to be taking a lot of pressure coming through from BBE. Hong with the right click on that pulse hold, looking to try and lock down Fat Milk, but he's able to pull off the Yushan transformation before he goes down, instantly getting that re-heal, as we're going to see Hong actually having to back on off and try and take a reset opportunity. Has to be careful though, because if he backs too far out, he's going to go into a different team entirely. 5-2-1, see the lone Takeda go, hold on a second, we're not running Sand Siphon, and immediately turn on to him instead as TE VVV inside the Ferrier mech. HLG's hand playing up into the trees to try to run away and find that reset opportunity. VVV knows one of those players is low. He goes aerial with the primary to be able to lock it down. TE hit double digits. Actually, no, that's their 11th kill. They were already on double digits, as we're going to see the Yodo F2 being invested over the Ferrier mech for VVV to cover with all of the block of that damage coming on through as he drops outside of the mech. MVP finding a purple invisibility bush, everyone crouching inside. FPX now trying to come off of that high ground. Dongqing showing the hand of Hector. Yin able to find an absolutely huge parry coming on through, but we're going to be able to see the Tessa step in front and utilize the F1 to be able to cover, and it's actually 5-2-1 who are forced into using the Wuchen teleport to put themselves onto the high ground and escape FPX's sight.
That was rather risky though. They could have potentially gotten caught in the zone, but thankfully they've managed to heal up. Speaking of getting caught though, MVP getting a little bit spicy over here. Hong, he does get he eats a huge amount of damage from that Yotohime and gets caught by the Tessa ultimate. It looks as though there might be a little bit of follow-up. You get a little bit of range shot, and another one coming in from Akame with that musket, taking him down. Hong is back to the lobby. For the moment, we have Fat Milk still alive. KLA getting really aggressive at the edge of the zone. 5-2-1 getting shoved in over and over and over again. But then it's KLA's turn. KLA getting shoved into the zone. Water now with that Viper ultimate managing to lock up PPY, but he's not looking to actually capitalize off of this stun. He's just going to try and heal up, trying to get that armor all the way back to the tippity top so that he can look to stay alive as long as possible for his team to try and multiply these 14 kills that they've managed to accumulate into as many points as possible. BK though on MVP, he's desperately going up and down this tree. He sends out 2 blue focus attacks into Snag, and Snag, oh, he eats the brunt of that damage, but thankfully BK didn't opt to try and continue it for both of their sakes. I'd imagine that BK probably would have immediately gotten collapsed on by the remaining members of BBE.
VVV and Water are just doing the exact same thing right now.
Literally.
By the way, I tell you, both of these teams They must have played under the same coach at one point, because they both have the same strategy. Just play off of the low ground, play for survival. Yeah, everyone now is turning on top of each other. BBE going to go down to the Merciless Havoc knockback coming on through from PPY. Now we're going to see Snag and PPY go head-to-head. This is the opportunity that both T and FPX were looking for. Snag coming into the Yoda ultimate. Everyone tap dodging around it. Snag having to utilize one of those last teleports to be able to put himself on top and try and find the connection onto the players below. PPY goes down. Snag able to find the heal reset as a result. VVV, however, with the cannon, knocks him into the corruption tick damage. Now it's just going to be FPX's water standing tall. FPX TE, both of these teams were so absolutely incredibly close to each other in terms of game score that they were coming in with, in terms of kills that they were coming into that final zone with, in terms of game plan that they were coming into that final zone with. But it looks like FPX's water was able to do enough to be able to give the team the MVP. And I tell you what, Duncan, that's got to frustrate TE.
No, absolutely, but hats off to Water, a lone Viper in that kind of zone, managing to stay alive till the very, very, very end.
It's not his first time.
No, it's not.
I still remember the MVPL game where it's Water, we're on Holoroth, and he's Tumulch. He's Tumulch, and he wins. He wins the MVP.
Oh, I think I remember. Wasn't it in a 1v3 situation?
It was
with
a 1v3 with the nunchucks.
The nunchuck sap. I remember casting that.
Yeah, we were.
That was. Oh, you just took me back. That was nuts. Oh, and this is why I love FPX. They've got that clutch factor. I've been a big fan of.
Well, they rise from the ashes.
Yeah,
it's in the name.
Exactly. FPX popping off. Getting, I'm not sure if they managed to take 14 kills up to 15, but they definitely come away with a juicy number of points off the back of that fourth game of the day, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, FPX, when we saw them and they were already coming in with double-digit kills before that final zone collapsed, FPX and TE, again, like they literally both have the exact same game plan. They're like, okay, we're on over 10 kills. We're just gonna sit on the low ground. We're gonna play out of attention. Everyone else is gonna be sitting on the high ground. They're all gonna be exchanging cannon shots. They're all gonna be jumping on top of each other when the zone collapse pushes everyone off of the roof and it becomes an absolute free-for-all. So what do T and FPX do? They make sure they carve a space out before that happens. And it's really smart.
No, absolutely. It's exactly what you want to be looking to do. Try and secure yourself a nice little bit of land, a nice little bit of real estate, just to call home for the moment, as you don't want all of these different teams coming in and trying to steal your garden gnomes. You don't want that. You don't want them to just come in.
What?
Steal your little garden gnomes. You know, you got the little garden gnomes on the lawn. You know, your nice little house, little condo or something. You know, you set up. You're just out there having a barbecue. You don't. You just get off my lawn.
You're just an angry old man being get off my lawn!
Get off my lawn!
Oh, it's so interesting, like FPX and TE, like the overlap between both of these teams' game plans in terms of how they approach the final zone, in terms of what compositions they really do find a lot of value with. Like it's neck and neck, literally. Like you stand here and I would like be here. that's FPX and TE's interactions, and it's so interesting. If you haven't been following the FPX and TE, we have so many amazing stories in the Arca esports. FPX and TE are one of my favorites because, you know, these two orgs, they have been not at each other's throats, but they've had the same players.
Yeah.
We've had different players come along and play under, you know, former labels, and then FPX had to go away and recreate their team and come back in, and they came back in and they were a little bit peeved that TE had taken all of their teams, and they'd be like, you know what, we're gonna come here and we're gonna field a very, very good roster. Yeah. And they picked up such insane players that literally, like, the first week that they came into MVPL Season 2, last year they broke the record for most amount of points picked up in one day, and ever since they've just been getting better and better, where they kept falling apart, unfortunately, like TE, funnily enough, was
Yep.
consistency. We would see regular weeks, they'd go absolutely amazingly, and then we'd hit bi-weekly finals and things would all fall apart. But definitely things did not fall apart for both FPX and TE. In fact, you could say it all came together.
Exactly right. But yeah, as you said, that is one of the reasons why I applaud FPX for having being here and doing so well, is that at the very beginning of this NPL season, they were a brand new team. It wasn't they were brand new players, it's that they hadn't played.
Yeah.
And then they came in and they set records and they did an amazing job, having only been together as a team for not all that much time. And that truly is very impressive. As trios, you know the name of the game. It is
Synergy and coordination.
Synergy, coordination, team communication, and trust. And being able to trust your teammates that you've never played with before is it's very, very big. So hats off to them, and hats off to them for doing an amazing job this game and coming away with the MVP with 15 eliminations. They did manage to pick up one more at the very end. Water clutching it up and staying alive for as long as he could, and taking home the dub for him.
Yeah, and I mean, the storyline between FPX and TE does not end there either. Remember when Tessa first started being used in MVPL? It was TE who were actually the ones that first found the MVP, and I remember FPX did an interview. In fact, I think it was Water specifically did an interview, and they got asked, like, how strong do you think Tessa is? And he said, like, yeah, I think she's really strong. I think she's going to be really good in trios. However, you're not going to see us use her until we see, like, teams like TE figure it out for us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You guys do the legwork. We'll pick up the train afterwards. You know, we're just here to play. Yeah. We'll just copy you guys. It's all good.
It's like, you know, when you're sitting next to the kid in class, it's like, okay, can I see your homework? Sure, just don't make it look obvious.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I love the interactions between the two. I love when the two are in the same lobby. I'm so happy that they're in the same lobby, although unfortunately this is going to be potentially the last time that we see some of these players and teams in the same lobby, as this is the last day of play in the group stages of the official 2023 J Cup for trios, and everyone who is not currently in the top 12 is on the block pretty soon, actually off the block and on a plane home.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of, unfortunately, neither IDC or IDK were able to do all that well in that game. I don't think DPCQ were able to do all that much either in that game. But we've still got another 2 games. Yeah. And now it's make or break. So game 5, game 6 are always the most important. Game 5 sets up your game 6. So game 5, if you're in that position where you need to get quite a few points, you need to actually have a really good game 5 so that you can set up for the clutch in the final game of the day. You don't want to be going into game 6 having not done well in game 5, because not only is it going to be more difficult having less points, but at the same time, mentally, it's going to be more difficult. This was very nicely done by MVP, managing to get that Moonbane down and turning this bad situation into a beneficial one. Here we are with FPX. Exactly the same thing. We have the Moonbane coming in. It would have been really bad if they didn't have that Moonbane, didn't have the foresight to get it dropped down when they did. And they come away with even more kills under their belt. TE over here with those gold weapons, just absolutely obliterating KLA. Oh my!
That F2!
It's like zoom. It's just like a magnet.
It's a magic trick.
Exactly.
It's the worst kind of magic trick. One that probably requires a health waiver to be signed beforehand.
Oh my god!
As we can have a look at FPX's Water, this is how he did it. Tap dodge, roll. Cannon, F2 connection. So it's like as often as he can, he tries to stay and play to the safety of that zone. In fact, he even steps directly in front of the neck from the ferry because he knows he's not going to be the point of focus.
Yeah.
TE is purely just looking at that one player sitting inside the corruption because he knows he doesn't need to find the dead-on cannon connection for all of that damage. Exactly. He just needs to find the AoE knockback.
No, having that cannon from Water with the flame breath did so much for him. He was just aiming at the floor as well.
Yeah.
The rupture gale doing all the work for him.
Fire tick, you name it.
Exactly.
That cannon is absolutely devastating, especially since he has repair roll, which is another iframe on being able
and he
to
also had
repair
Mortal
it.
Defiance.
And Mortal Defiance, that's
He
another.
was chilling. He was absolutely vibing.
Oh, and explosive armor as well. This is a Soul Jade stack that literally just screams survival and last
with
zone.
the Phantom Step, repair roll. Oh,
like
oh
I
my
said,
goodness.
FPX are a very smart team, especially because it's the Viper that they put all of this on. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Water goes through all of the bodies around him when he's the last player on his team. Because he disappears from the minimap for a bit. Like, we don't really see where he goes. We know that he's definitely hiding and playing safe because he's the last one on his team and he's also a Viper. And that means that everyone is going to try and track him down, even if he had 2 full teammates to be able to peel for him, because what they're going to essentially do is push him so low that he has to panic pop his ultimate. And then everyone's just going to be like, oh, sweet, cool, your armor's already gone. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You have absolutely no damage reduction in this. We're just going to phase tank and kill you before that V1 can pop. And as a result, he plays incredibly smartly and slyly. Stealthy Viper coming on through. So he was probably going to all of those bodies being like, I can see Phantom Step here, and I'll take a little bit of, Mortal Defiance there. Do you know what I'll take? I'll take an answer for question. Which hero did this match's MVP use? Was it Zeeping? Was it Viper? Was it Tumult? Or was it Yodo? Get your answers into Twitch chat as quickly as you can. One lucky viewer will be chosen to walk away with some of those cosmetic goodies.
Indeed, not that person who goes AFK and misses out on the message telling them that they have won. You should be sat down nice and comfy with your popcorn, watching these amazing games unfold. And speaking of amazing games unfold, we have game number 5 and 6 coming up pretty soon. And we're going back to Hollow.
We're not going to Starry Night though, but
No,
we are
unfortunately
going
not.
back to Hollow. And I do love Hollow. I mean, I've had a checklist of things that I want to see this J Cup. A couple of them have already been crossed off, you know, Thorny roll a kill, Thorny roll a kill again, Thorny roll a kill again, Ballista shots coming on through. 2 players using Ballista on Salvation Podium at the same time. That got checked off. That was incredibly fun to get to watch all of the mind games on, especially because one of those Ballistas, I think it's XEG, they're on the right side of Ballista and everyone just decides to grief him out of being able to sit there. Meanwhile, the team on the left, like, Ballista, they're fine. Like, no one turns and looks at them. They still get to have all of that pressure. But speaking about chilling, you guys should not be chilling. You guys should be answering this question in chat and also in your game client. This is our prediction. Which of the following 2 teams do you believe will achieve the highest score in this coming match? Is it going to be BBE or is it going to be VNGC? That's a little bit of a toughie because BBE impressed, right? Every single time we saw them, they're back quite literally up against that zone. They still did incredibly good. In fact, they almost took down FPX.
No, they've been doing an amazing job coming in to this tournament. I remember when they got their first MVP. Let's go, BBE! After having it come to Jacob last year and not managing to qualify, and now coming in this year, they've come to play and they're doing an amazing job of it. They're not even close to not qualifying. They are fully up there. I think the last time I saw them, they were on 70 something points. That is more than enough. They're definitely up above that now. And it's lovely to see a Southeast Asian team, an SEA team, coming in and doing so well. I mean, need I say more? You know,
who has Roy Hehe.
VNGC, yeah.
And you don't go up against VNGC and expect to win if Roy Hehe is on something like that. Monk, he is such a good player, and honestly the team as well have really impressed. Last year it really did feel like Roy Hehe was like the star of the show, but this year VNGC, they've been keeping up with him. They've been able to not just protect him but also play off of a lot of the opportunities and also experience that he provides. This is a very strong VNGC team.
No, you're absolutely right. Also, Roy he did play solos last year as well. I think this year I'm not
trios.
Yeah, he's only been playing trios. I'm not sure if he attempted to qualify for solos as well or not, but he has been coming in for trios. He's been putting a lot of work in, and unfortunately they haven't had the best performance so far today, but they're definitely still in contention for qualification, and I hope that they do, because they are as well SEA team, and they like to get
I mean, all of the SEA teams are very aggressive.
Yes, all of them are. It is always fun to see. I still remember Roy because I did a little bit of, I analyzed some of his games after last year's J-Cup in solos predominantly. I remember one of his games he was playing Taka, and he popped crazy. He had like 10 plus kills in a game.
That was Morris, right?
Insane.
And he landed near Winery and he absolutely smoked everybody.
He just turned it up. He was popping. So I mean, hey, he's come to play, and I hope that they manage to pick it up in these next couple of games. But I mean, we're sitting at the top. We've got all these teams sitting at the top. You know, they're all very comfortable at the moment. You have TE, KLA, like all the rest. It's just, I mean, for them, they're all very comfortable. They're still looking to get big games, MVPs. They want to show what's up. They want to set the tone going into finals. But for all these teams lurking at the bottom, they need to pick it up.
Yeah, there is a lot of pressure. In fact, there is a pressure cooker now starting to tick down. We are in the last 2 games of the day, and like you said, for those teams that are a little bit lower than where they would like to be, they do not want to have it all up to game number 6. Not only is that going to be even more pressure, but that's also going to mean that you are fighting against that voice in the back of your head that goes, is this a good decision? Do we really want to do this? And if you have that hesitation in the Raka, it's not going to end well. You cannot do things by halves. You have to fully commit. If one of your players is going super aggressively forward and trying to take a fight and confirm a kill on one of those high priority targets, and you have another player who is in another realm entirely, it's going to fall apart. In the past, trios teams used to be able to, you know, pull rabbits out of hats, would be able to win those 1v3s, but with the sustain meta that we are currently deep within, even if you don't have Sand Siphon, advanced heal and group heal are still absolute MVPs. You cannot possibly afford to not have that vein of communication open.
No, you're absolutely right. You need to be on the ball. MVP. They've been doing pretty well. They showed us that they were ready. They were ready to pull the trigger. They did a really good job last game of negating that pressure from that fight probably down that move in a very nicely timed. Hopefully they can continue to do more, but they're not.
It's not safe.
There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of Naraka to be played, and speaking of, we are about to jump right in to our 5th game of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, what are we going to be seeing? Going on to the sandy map of Colorado, the deserts, the dry deserts. Are they going to be bringing in something a little spicy? Are they going to be cranking it up a notch, or are we going to see a little bit more of the same, a little bit of sand blending in? And that
DPCQ.
is not too surprising. DPCQ, what are they rocking? Ooh, the Tumulk, Weishan, Tianhai. Now this is a composition that we have not seen very much of for a while now. A lot of teams used to run this at times, but then quite a few teams decided that there were plenty of counters, or essentially too many ways to deal with this composition.
Well, also discounted them from Realm of Yang fights, right? We had a stat in the past where Transformer teams with Karumis and Transformer teams with Tumultuous, Karumi teams had an 86% win rate in Realm of Yang against the Tumult and also against Sand Siphon, because if the Karumi got locked down, you would be able to teleport away from your team. DPCQ, if they decide to field this Tumultuous version of Transformers, I don't want to see them take a Realm of Yang, I want to see them go for the Morris Blessings. Take advantage of the fact that you're going to have that Tumultuous, you're going to have the ultimate to be able to drop on top of that box. Problem is, they're going to be playing into a heavily dominated Sand Siphon composition lobby too. And that means that there are going to be so many more Tumultuous, and Tumultuous Ultimate loses value the more Tumultuous there are on the field, because other Tumultuous can go through your own ultimate and drop their ultimate, and then it just cancels out the effect.
Yeah, it just gets very sandy and very hard to see with all of those Tumultuous being dropped onto each other. But speaking of dropping, we've got BB, HLG, and I think it's MVP all the way up in the village. We have IDK on the western side of the map, seemingly rather isolated. It looks as though they could be going for a timing attack going up to Imperial Village, but we'll have to see. We've got BBE and MVP off the rip. Neither team have any armor to their name so far. Heading on over to try and loot this little spot here. Decent amount of loot there. But over in Metab, DBCQ has already lost a member. The hands of BNGC has gone getting pressured though by 521. 521 fully exploding onto Asma. Oh, a huge F3 from that Ferrier on BNGC to try and peel away some of that pressure, but it was not enough. He does get taken down. 521 Pampy does just, he almost misses Mines passing him, but he does start chasing him down. He's getting his ankles rather broken. He's trying to do the exact same thing, but he just gets released on the 0.9 from the dual blades, catching him. No overhold for you, Mr. Roy. He takes him down. 5-1, still on the chase. It looks like they're still trying to catch this Yota Hime, but they're not finding all that much success. Mines does have that.
Oh, he's going for the revive. He's using the Bane's Breath as a smoke screen.
That's why he stopped by his teammate's body to go and pick up that Moonbane, but it looks as though 5-1 are ready for it. They know there's still a decent amount of time before the Moonbane starts to throw down those lightning circles, those pillars.
But even if it starts, they've got Zip, so Zip just throws an F1 on the player who gets stuck in the middle of it, and they're perfectly fine as MVP gonna actually be able to loot Waterfall before HLG, who'd wanted to move in onto that territory. Waterfall being one of those key loot paths for these players dropping near Imperial. If you did not know, it has so much good loot where you're going to be able to back on out, pick those all up, and then potentially push in the middle of Yurt to the team that tried to take over the high ground. As Hong looking for that engagement, does have the F2. We're going to the Tesla V1 immediately being used. Hong finding a huge parry. Takeda F over the shoulder. The Viper does go LTZ also. Throwing out the RMB on that fan. Hong trying to come through with the LMB on the dagger. Takes so much damage though off of the misread, and Takeda is able to take advantage of the window that opens. Cuckoo coming in, absolutely gorgeous. Going to be dropping that Smolch ultimate to stop them from being able to find that clean disengagement. HLG really impressing in that fight. Are they going to take the Soul Bloom, or are they going to leave them? It does indeed look like they decide to leave them and prioritize as having for the Realm of Yang. Waterfall is one of those areas of the map that doesn't see a lot of players run into it once we see everyone move away from their original loot pathing. As a result, it's much more likely that the Soulbin will be able to stay there if you do lose that Yang depletion and need to be able to backtrack. As FPX, we're going to be seeing Xiaohu backing on out. Has to be careful he doesn't go into that blue from JL's One Feng. Luckily for him, he was able to cancel out of the grapple before the 40 roller moved on through. There it is. Zip F1 emboldening Xiaohu into holding his stance. FPX grouping on up, targeting the isolated JL's One Feng, finding the kill and forcing JL's One Feng to go back to the Soul Altar.
That was rather unfortunate for JL. He's caught out, unable to really do all that much. He did take him down relatively low, but it just wasn't enough. He was looking to stall, wait for his team to turn up, and just take him down in 3-1. Easy. No stress here. BNGC chilling on the outskirts, managing to pick up 1 kill so far. Looking to loot up for the moment. IDC though, but they're still scrapping it out with a 5-1. that's not sure who that is. One of them has been taken down. I think Lexon, perhaps. Lexon has been taken down on that Viper, unfortunately. So now it's a try and disengage. Maybe look for res, maybe not. We will see. But we'll have to wait for that. Ooh, Fatmil with a nice little bow shot onto KLAP. Catching him out. Doing a decent amount of damage. Not really in a position to fully follow up. Oh, there's the follow-up. Fatmil jumps right in, using that F1 on the Takeda. Now forced to use that ultimate, trying to continue to apply the pressure onto the XZ. Oh, huge parry coming out from Fatmil, absolutely obliterating the enemy Takeda, and then followed up on by the fan damage, just absolutely melting his entire health bar. But there you are, yes, exactly, the third party coming in. VNGC, they were lurking in the wings, ready to pull the trigger, and they've done exactly that. They're trying to find as many kills in this third party as they can. Pick up the one onto Peak after parried Ibin. Now looking to take down Ibin himself. He did manage to go into the sky with that Tomolkev, but it is simply not going to be enough. He has no backup, and VNGC take full advantage of this situation.
They're going to be incredibly happy with that. It puts them up to 5 kills, and this is the game that they needed to be more confident moving into game number 6. IDK also going to need a big game. DPCQ, there it is, deciding to use those ultimates. They're not going to be able to try to pressure one of those Realm of Yang's tanks, like getting a little bit stuck on the cliffs. Thankfully, with the new jump, is going to be able to maneuver himself into that fight without having to cancel the ultimate out early. IDK putting themselves in towards village. Sachiko unfortunately getting grabbed out. We're going to see the repeating crossbow start to come on through, and yeah, it does enough damage that Sachiko does now fall. Here's the problem for IDK. When one of your players goes down because they get crapped by a monk, they are out of position, and you are not going to be able to slip on over there and find that revive easily, especially if you're running Sand Siphon, because Riemann does not get that tether that allows for that ranged revive like the Karumi. As a result, it's just going to be Riemann now trying to kite these players of TE behind him for as long as possible. The R&B on the dual halberd catching on to Leo. Riemann trying to find the most damage as possible. It's a 1v3 now with Riemann. Oh, the R&B on the fan just unfortunately leaves him too vulnerable to all of the follow-up damage coming through from TE. That's another thing that we have to talk about. The fact that if you get hit with that original stagger of the cast of R&B, it's essentially a miniature Dreadful Whale where you get held in that position, can't do a whole lot of anything, and immediately in the team comms, you're going to hear that you've got that player locked down, and everyone is going to join in on the party so we can have a look and see where these Realm of Yangs are going to be starting to spawn on up. One right in the middle of City of Tang is probably going to be one of the most contested. VNGC, FPX, and MVP all in the area. BBE and KLA also might decide to drift their way on over. IDC, do they try and take a Realm of Yang? Surely not. They're going to be...
I think they have to. I think if they have any... Like, at this point in the tournament, at this point in the group stage, yeah.
Yeah.
If you still have any like desires and any ambitions to truly try and qualify and get to the grand finals, you need to just take any potential risk, all the risks possible, as long as they're not too crazy. You know, you need to take the run to the game.
Yeah.
Try and accelerate and have the biggest possible game. Fine.
Well, VNGC are into one. Who exactly are they going to be up against? I would love to see IDK use this opportunity of Realm of Yangs to try and get their players back in. Like, get on top of one of those Morris Blessings, or try and find a shop where it has the Rebirth Charms. Take advantage of the fact that, I mean, in about a minute or 2 minutes or so, we're going to see players have to go to Soul Altars, so it's going to be really careful. Yeah, because
they had reses. They had reses still. So
oh,
they're
very nice, very nice.
Thankfully, yeah, they still had their reses available.
VNGC Mines now going aerial, has the fan on out, does take a couple of hits. We're going to see the F2 immediately being invested. He's still going to be able to throw it out again, using it now to be able to throw out onto FPX. The Yoda ultimate coming on through the Ferrier mech already being dropped from Roy Hee for Mines to be able to retreat into it. If he feels pressured, we're going to see the Takeda ultimate start to come on through. Mines sent isolated away from his team, grabbed into position. The Tumult trying to lock him down, doesn't stop him from being able to get into that Farrier mech. Mind looking to find the reposition. Roy Hee, however, in the meantime, does go down. Mind's incredibly low, tries to get away, gets caught out once again by how fast that fan goes, and now it's just going to be cleanup. FPX making sure to play split so not all of them get staggered by the Yushan and take too much damage at the same time. We're going to see 50 seconds left, but it's not going to be enough. VNGC's Asbon going to fall to FPX, who show Cannonball may be strong against Sand Siphon, but there's still a couple of things to learn, and I think the biggest problem is the fact that the Farrier, if she wants to utilize that V3 to keep the Yoda safe after the ultimate, becomes such an easier target to take down.
No, they definitely overextended Roy. They just, I think the Yoda ult was just a little bit too early. They panicked a little bit, and it just ruined the rotations of their ultimate, unfortunately. So here we have TE fighting it out versus HLG, going back and forth for the moment. Leo having taken a considerable amount of damage, slowly healing up. EVV though, he is getting worked by this fan. He's managing to respond though. The 1-2-3 coming in with the Takeda ult to cover. Now running out of his ultimate, he's having to try and make use of the F1, and he does exactly that, and there it is. Oh, a huge amount of damage, unfortunately. He's unable to close it out. He does get taken down in the end by Han. But, it's a 2v2 situation. TE in the winning position. PPY desperately trying to stall for his teammate to heal up just a little bit more. And he gets overheld and obliterated by these dual halberds. Han is going to be following suit. Leo full HP. There's very little that he can actually do in this situation. And TE come away with another 3 eliminations. Very nice to see. Heading on over to Bloomcast, we have IDC, but it doesn't look like it's a good situation for the boys. IDC already losing 2 members, 5-1. They've come out of the realm of Yang, having been taken down, and they have no mercy. They need to get those soul blooms, and they do exactly that.
Yeah, unfortunately this stage of the game, like you said, is incredibly unforgiving. Those teams who go through the realm of Yangs and lose that fight, they have to take the fight that they see. It doesn't matter what competition they run into. They need to take that fight so that if it goes south, they have the time still on that 4 minutes to be able to try and back on off and find a better target. As VNGC are going to be in that state of panic. 2 minutes left. They're already sitting on 5 kills. They do not want to go out of this lobby early. This is meant to be that pop-off game. Cannonball gets stronger as the game goes on because of that CC connection. As BBE, are they going to be able to continue? IDK Sachiko has been found. We're going to see the staff 1-2 light confirm come on through from that Takeda. Shoves still being held. Fat Milk trying to find the opening lockdown. We're going to see No Sense able to try and peel for the rest of his team. Fat Milk now trying to hold all of these players in the zone. Ryman looking to get interrupted. Unfortunately gets pressured away from the rest of his team. We see IDK try and peel for him with the last of those Takeda shoves. Does not manage to save No Sense. And now it's just going to be Riemann on an absolute sliver of health trying to break away. Fat Milk not able to find the connection of the repeater crossbow off of that weapon swap. Sachiko having to just back on off. Unfortunately, it does look like they have to sacrifice that third player and just prioritize outright survival of everybody else in the team. As VNGC, they've got to be running out of time. In fact, you can see it, that under a minute, 50 seconds, they've still got all of their ultimates. This is the first team that they've run into. Immediately, we see the investment of that Farrier V3. Mind's getting into position, throws out the F2, throws out the second version to be able to get the golden focus and push Akami airborne. He's going to be able to force the Zip V2, and the Yoda ultimate is still going to be in the pocket. Roy Hee now trying to come through and find that opening for his Yushan to be able to lock one of these players down and pop that sedated soul as quickly as possible. Pampy, the choice of target. Mind's out of that Yoda ultimate now, looking to try and find this locked-in Tumultuous ultimate, however, has been held in the back pocket for 5-2-1 to be able to rally around and stop any of this potential threat coming through from the cannon shots of the Farrier mech when it's going to be utilized. VNGC's Mind and Asbon trying to hold them in position. We're going to see Unique actually go down. Akame also been picked up. Now it's just Pampy. They're going to be able to pick up 2 of those Soul Blooms. One of these players hasn't been cleansed. Do they make it in time? I think they do.
But unfortunately, Roy Hee got taken down before he managed to pick up that Soul Bloom.
No.
So now it's going to be a matter of whether or not BNGC has the money and
they
can
definitely
actually
have
buy
the
the
money.
Rebirth Charm. But are there any left in the
That
shop?
is the problem. There
That's
are
the
only a
question.
finite amount of those Rebirth Charms available on map, and once they are gone, they're gone.
Yeah. But jumping into the realm of Yang here, we have FPX versus the DPCQ. Donking dropping down with that aerial horizontal onto Mushroom. Get a little bit of chip damage. The focus slide coming in. Donking getting all of his armor stripped off. Getting caught in that F1 animation though. DPCQ in a really rough position, and Mushroom gets taken down before he even uses his Tumult ultimate. That is not what you want to see. The Monk though, Deng Zai, he's doing a decent amount of damage with that Monk grab, but unfortunately it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. He's just getting absolutely shredded by this repeating crossbow from afar. Water, he's just sitting all the way at the back. He doesn't need to commit, he doesn't need to get close. Just doing all the damage necessary to negate the pressure from that Monk, and there it is. FPX take down DPCQ in the realm of Yang. And they're looking to pick up another purple armor.
Oh, legendary
and a
longsword.
Gold longsword.
Legendary longsword and purple flamer. That's huge for FPX.
That is so huge.
Because now they have a free flamer. They don't have to pressure one of those Most Blessings. I mean, if they do decide to pressure Most Blessing, potentially they walk away with 2. And honestly, FPX wouldn't say no to that. I've seen in the past them try and lock in free flamers. Which
I mean, the more the better. You know, you can either have them give everybody, each member on the team have a little cooker of the Flamebringer, you know, or you can just have somebody triple wielding.
Well,
them,
it shuts down so much more space, right?
Yeah.
Because essentially what you're doing is not only are you forcing those players further into the corruption tick damage, you would then have 2 different angles that you're not going to be approached on. Which is huge. It means that you're not going to get third party. That means when we head into those final zones where everyone's posturing up and trying to figure out who is the weakest to jump on, the weakest to jump on at the moment is VNGC. Unfortunately, Mines throughout the F2 knew that he was being tailed. Ooh, buddy boy, we almost had that checklist filled in a 3rd time as Mines does not go down to the Thorny Roller, but unfortunately still is going to lose his life. Hello, Dunking. That is not the right moment to be rooting through that body. However, Mines gave his life so that Asbon may survive in his place. The problem is, Plumed is always an absolute hive of activity when it is around this late in the game. A lot of these players love to kite into this area because of the ease of being able to disappear amongst those anti-gravity rocks, and as a result, DPCQ, who'd lost that realm of Yang and needed the Soul Blooms, were in the area to try to find some of those isolated players easily to jump on and find kills without having to invest those ultimates. Transformers, even if you have a Karumi running that traditional variation, absolutely awful into 3rd party. As a result, DPCQ wanted to be able to try and find these isolated, easier to pick off targets so that they could save those ultimates for when a fight properly broke out afterwards, and they're going to have them to try to take down JL. 2 minutes in the pocket. Deng Zai gonna be going for the Tian High transformation, try and grab some of these players into his hands. We're going to see double Tumult ultimate being invested as JL look to reposition, move away from the threat of being grabbed out with the building as cover. AS unfortunately not able to break away. The Zip V2 instantly going to be popping off, allowing them to be able to survive that slam and subsequent damage coming on through. Mushroom not able to help the rest of his team. Incredibly low. Plan B already down. We said it would be tough to run Transformers when you don't have the traditional support, nor the Karumi with the new invigorated F3. And unfortunately, Duncan, history repeats itself. Tian High with Tumult does not mix.
No, it did not seem to be. It didn't seem as though it was doing all that much, unfortunately. They do take down a member of IDK earlier on, but other than that, it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to deal with the Sand Siphon, and neither was it enough to deal with that Draco Storm. Them having Draco Storm was pretty huge for them. So yes, Hong actually coming in clutch with the res onto his teammate.
Oh, but TE is sitting on Xian's body.
And the anti-heal debuff is it's already pretty stacked up, and we have no Vitalia to work with.
Goodbye, Hong.
Hong is about to get taken down to the zone, but fortunately, I think they will be able to juggle the resurrection. They do have quite a distance to go, though.
Yeah, and
Quite
Hong's
a long
instantly
way.
gonna go down again, surely. Yep.
Yeah.
And LTZ has no Vitalia. TE, oh no, T spotted it.
him. Yeah, it's over. It's
Jabbing
over.
comes on out. LTZ has no choice but to commit to the blue. And unfortunately for him, that staff gets immediately parried out of his hand. No more jabbing. It's now going to be in the hands of T Easily, who's going to be incredibly happy because that's jabbing with a legendary staff.
Indeed, that is very unfortunate for that team. Speaking of unfortunate, IDK Ryoman getting caught out, having been hiding away in these little tents as he is missing a teammate. Not too sure where Sachiko is. Sachiko also is alive. They were not together. It's split up. Try
That
and
is survival.
yeah, exactly. Not to consolidate all of the remaining players in the same place. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket.
Oh, they
ladies and
are
gentlemen.
going for the triple and double flamer.
And-
No way. I mean, FPX have it to mulch.
Yeah,
So,
no, I mean,
may as well try it.
yeah, I mean, Flamebringers. If the more you have of them, the better, because you can get through that charge of it very, very quickly.
Yeah, and it's a Holoroth game. They know that there's going to be a lot of other zips. They want that fire tick to give that heal cut. There's no way they get this for free. Okay, we are going to be seeing pressure. Xiaohu taking a lot of pressure actually coming through from the cannon shots above, which look to be originating from Team JL. Sitting up on the high ground, as we're going to see Dongqing actually stand his ground and try and engage. Flame Breath coming on through on that cannon as Xiaohu look to try and use the distraction to get a little bit closer and find the connection onto JL as AS drops down. Decides to think better of it, repositions with the rest of his team. No one's still able to open the Morris Blessing. Unlike in solos, it doesn't insta-open. In trues, there is a load bar in Immortal War. It's the reason why we see smulches and things like that Yoda back in the day, F3 being utilized alongside the Wuxian Wind Walls to be able to give yourself the time and uninterruption to be able to pick it up. There it is, Yahoo! He got the armor. What's the weapon?
He's just waddling into it.
It's a flamer, no!
Another one, a golden Flamebringer. And Mortal Defiance again. I swear we've seen so many Mortal Defiance. So many of them.
Well, JL at least know to expect it. As, okay, there's Dragonlight coming on through from those dual halberds. FPX absolutely loaded when it comes to just setup for Final Zone. We thought we saw a setup for Final Zone last time with Water's MVP stack. This is 3 times as worse because all 3 players are alive and everyone is going to be kitted to the absolute teeth with such good loot. You're going to see any of those. Like, if you see a team that are low, FPX, not only are they running Sand Siphon, so they're not going to be low for long, they have the Flamebringers to dissuade a team from actually trying to engage in, as we're going to have a look. HLG's Cuckoo coming in. There it is, yeah. They stashed those Soul Blooms in Waterfall, but doesn't mean that Cuckoo's going to go down to the zone tick. Oh no.
No.
And then PPY is going to potentially... There is no way that TE get another kill on a player caught in zone. No, TE off in the distance, don't see him. Cutting back, however, to TE, who are very much not in the distance any longer. Right in the middle. They're going for a flamer themselves. Like I said, FPX and TE are 2 sides of the same coin. The problem is that TE on the low ground have to deal now with 2 other teams. BBE, TXJ already with the flamer. Coming on forward, gets hit into the stone form of that pole sword. Decides actually to back on off. One team drops the Tumultuous ultimate. It's not TE. They've backed on off fully. They've given it up. They're going to allow BBE and JL, who not getting the opportunity to pick up 1 Morris Blessing, denied it by FPX, turn up to the next spawning, and are going to be able to walk away with that one. legendary armor going onto Xi to be able to get into position and use it with the combo breaker of that Tumult, giving him the confidence to be able to hold that forward position. TE, however, now looking to move on forward inside an engagement between themselves and BBE, as we're going to see VVV come in with that Takeda ultimate, trying to find the shots. BBE too close to the zone, are going to be shoulder tackled immediately into it by the Furin, and they're going to do it again. The Flamer comes on out, BBE's Fat Milk, nowhere to run. Flamer in front, corruption damage behind. Just go straight down.
Nowhere to go for BBE, unfortunately. We've talked about them playing with their backs to the wall, and that's exactly what just happened. But unfortunately, they weren't able to continue to stand tall and hold their ground. They just get absolutely melted. They get all the nice and crispy up against the grill, and it's just over for them, unfortunately, in this match. Speaking of, look who's still alive. Sachiko is still alive, still chugging away. Only blue armor, but he is on the Takeda. So if Sachiko manages to remain as inconspicuous as possible, stay hidden, stay inside that bush. There he is.
Sachiko.
Okay, bro, you having a good time?
It's like playing Where's Wally.
Yeah, he's just reading a good book in the bush. He's just, oh, is it time to move yet? Are we going?
I mean, FPX are definitely going. In fact, FPX and TE have found each other because, yet again, very similar game plans. There's Sachiko. Unfortunately for him, he's going to have to self past FPX. Do they notice him? He's going for the crouch walk to try and mask his steps. He can't go for the sprint, otherwise FPX will directly hear him. Got his head directly into those cliffs. There's JLAS coming in with that cavalry bloom. KLA seeing it attached to the dual blades, knowing now to expect it. AS moving into position, going to prematurely pop the F ability so that they can move on to that spot. No alt zone also coming into play. TE utilizing it so that some of these other teams do not feel the confidence to try to pressure in onto them. Yet again, we've seen both FPX and TE try to make themselves as little a target as possible, as Donkwing taking a lot of damage, actually having to drop underneath that arch, break away from line of sight and try and find the reset. KLA see it, however, they can't go to that right. They go into the Flamer, and that no-ult zone! You is so close to being shoved into that no-ult zone and losing all of the Takeda shoves, and he decides to give it up. They take too much pressure. They don't want to get caught in the middle. They know if there's the one stuck inside that middle, every single team turns on them instead when every single bit of action kicks on off. FPX climbing themselves onto the top. There's that Flamer strategy being used to oust these teams' locations. JL, the one that FPX want to try and push away. We're going to see Xiaohu, however, go incredibly low. The zip heal kicking on through the ultimate, keeping him alive. Sedated Soul instantly going to be popping. There's the Mortal Defiance. Xiaohu looking to skirmish his way back into the zone, but he's held away by TE, who are looking to try to find this kill. Ripple and Phantom Step doing so much work. The armor swap into that purple means that Xiaohu has been able to make it back to the mid-level and re-engage with his team.
Oh my, that armor swap was so unbelievably well timed. His teammate drops it down so that he's able to pick it up the moment he gets close enough. Beautifully done, beautiful teamwork coming out from FPX, and here we are with TE, VVV and TXJ both getting taken down extremely low. They do find a moment to heal and respond in this skirmish. Tumult getting taken down extremely low as well. Now being forced to try and heal. CXZ barely with a sliver of health left. Does manage to find that reset. Xiaohu, he's still fighting for his life. He's lost all of his armor yet again, and he jumps right in to KLA. And he's so low. How is he alive? He's still going. There it is. That took its sweet time. He does finally get taken down. Unfortunately, KLA is cleaning up. They only have 2 kills, but they might come away with the MVP if they manage to pick up the rest of these kills. No, actually, TE and FPX, they have 11 and 15 kills to their name. My bad. That is way too many kills to make up for. But KLA still trying their best to pick up as many kills as they can, but it doesn't look as though JL is going to let them. JL just dominating the low ground here with that Merciless Havoc. Just the blender at the bottom of the cliff, waiting for anybody to come down and just absolutely
got their
get
foot up.
shredded.
TXJ's back.
TXJ is back in the mix. He does get rezzed. Lovely to see, but CXZ, he just gets sent into the zone, absolutely obliterated by TE here. Leo as well picking up FPX water. Unfortunately, FPX has been taken down. They are not able to convert their 15-kill game into a bigger game for them with that multiplier. Unfortunately, TE using that uppercut on the fan into the Flamebringer and just cooking the remaining members of Team JL in the zone, and they take home the MVP at the very end of game number 5.
TE are absolute magicians because they disappear for a full fight. Like, it's so funny because I see all of these other teams. I see KLA, I see FPX, I see everybody. You know how I don't see TE? And then I take like a look at the very, very top of the clip.
Yeah, you had to point them out to me. I didn't see them.
Yeah, because what they'd essentially done, it's so smart. It really is so incredibly smart. Leo is taken incredibly low. Like, incredibly low. He gets caught up in a tumult wisp. And TXJ decides, okay, I'm going to make the sacrificial play, and steps in front of him. So when another team sends a tumult wisp, TXJ is the one that actually goes down to the damage on the wisp. But because Leo has been prioritized by T, because they understand all of those other teams, not only are they going to be fighting on the low ground and they're going to get lost in all of that noise and distraction as the zone collapses, TE understand they're going to be able to get TXJ back up as a result. And as a result, they're able to not only get their third player up, they still have control of the high ground because everyone's dropped down, prioritizing the kill and forgetting about TE's presence entirely. And what ends up happening, we see yet again, Flamebringer is such a huge aspect of these teams. TE and FPX, they both use it incredibly similarly. Right, where they sit like on a rock or a high ground position where you're not going to be able to touch them. You can't punish the fact that you can't parry with a flamer, so they're going to be out of range of all of that entirely. And they make sure that you are forced into that lose-lose situation between a rock and a very, not hard, but hot place.
Yes, very
where you
hot.
essentially have to be like, I either go into zone corruption tick damage or I go into the flamer. And what's worse, you don't want to go into the corruption tick damage because it ignores your shield, it eats straight through your health. It doesn't matter if you have purple or legendary, you're going to go down within seconds if you don't have that vein of support, so you're going to panic and go directly into the flamer, but then you have the fire tick cutting on in, and that means that your zip sustainability absolutely tanks to the floor, and not only are they able to utilize the fact that everyone is fighting to hold onto their ultimates, to get all of their resources back online, to have all of the weapons to be able to punish when that zone properly collapses, they're also able to make sure that TXJ has the position to be able to push those players into a place where they're not going to be able to recover from. They have no choice but to go, okay, we're definitely going to go down. Do we just try and deny a kill going to TE?
Yeah, no, it is definitely a tough situation to be in. Another thing that not all that many people know is that with your Flamebringer, the closer you are to the person or to an opponent, for example, you're firing that Flamebringer at, the closer you are to them, the more damage it's going to do. So in those tight knit, those very close quarter situations, you can do so much with even an epic or like legendary Flamebringer. Just does so much work, so much value. As you said, the fire tick negating a lot of that healing against all of the zippings on the Holoroth, with the Sand Siphon being one of the most popular and highest pick rate compositions on this map. It's invaluable, really. But yeah, that Merciless Havoc definitely came in pretty clutch as well, being able to maintain that ultimate low ground situation and have that entire bottom part sectioned off for you, being able to dictate the pace of that sort of thing was very nice. But TE, having picked up that res, very nice for them.
Yeah.
They managed to hide away nice.
They're so smart. They are
Little
so smart at just, you know, like pressuring some of these teams enough that a humongous fight just kicks on up. We see it time and time and time again. You are able to utilize the fact it's essentially, like I said, a smokescreen, right? You think this fight is going down, you think it's the last fight, everyone's going to be committing those ultimates, but it's all sleight of hand, it's all misdirection, and as a result, TE are able to walk away with that revive, because that revive, not only was it incredibly close to the corruption and take damage, it was incredibly close to where the zone was actually at the very edge of. If any person had turned on to TE and noticed that revive going off, that strategy is done. And TE, both of their players double stacked on the body, because the longer in the game you are, the less time you have to be able to pull those revives off.
Yeah, because you're just going to get spotted out by all of these different players ready to pull the trigger.
But they double stack. They are so
situation.
confident that they're not going to get spotted. They double stack to be able to pull the res off fast enough, and as a result, look at the kills.
I think they also have to run the risk of double stacking to get that res, because obviously when you double stack for a res, it reses faster.
Yeah.
So they have to take the risk to try and get that res off as fast as possible. FPX doing an amazing job as well that game. They did phenomenally well, getting 50 kills for themselves, but unfortunately weren't able to
But
take
here's
that
why they prioritize TXJ over Leo, or rather, here's why they prioritize sacrificing TXJ over Leo. Leo's on the zip.
Yeah.
He's going to
absolutely.
have the F1, he's going to potentially have the V2. If you want to commit to such an aggressive revive, you need to have the F1 to be able to fall back onto, because if you do get noticed, you have to be able to find the disengagement. And Zip with the F1, with the added mobility on being able to tap dodge towards where you drop that bubble, has the ability to be able to find the disengagement. It is so smart coming through from TE, and I guarantee you it is thought out. All of these players, they have agreed ahead of time on prioritizing not just the players that they're targeting, but also in those niche situations, who they prioritize keeping alive till the very end. VVV obviously is going to be protect the target number one. He's on that Takeda, but if it goes to a sustain off, you want the zip.
No, you're absolutely right. I remember, I think it was day one that we saw, it was KLA lost their zipping in the final zone, and it was Takeda and Tamulch. And even though they were both so unbelievably turbo stacked, they couldn't make anything happen because, hey, they just didn't have the zipping to keep them alive.
Yeah.
It just wasn't possible. But look at BBE getting up to the top 6 position. Ooh! Beautiful. 127 points for BBE.
They've got that gecko foot. They are shooting up that scoreboard. I have been waiting a year and a half to make that joke.
I didn't get it at first, and I was like, it's a good one, it's a good one.
It was a good match. It was definitely a good match. HLG here able to find the kills onto MVP to be able to recover after losing one of those Realm of Yangs. VNGC. Mines coming in, dropping the F2 to be able to have the golden focus, find the isolation. The damage that it does, but also the knockback attached, like the isolation on that target, is absolutely huge. It means that they're not able to regroup with the rest of their team. A lot of the time, even for Sunsiphon, it knocks them away from the Zip F1 interception.
Yeah, no, it's huge, but yeah, VNGC Mines popping off right here. Able to pick up a decent number of kills for him and his team. FPX just doing what FPX does best. This was so unbelievably cool from VNGC. They just go absolutely all in. They just send everything. Unfortunately, Royhe wasn't able to survive. He goes down to the enemy team, and because he had Yang depletion, he was not resable. Unfortunately, it is what it is. But hey, they still have a chance, I imagine. BBB coming in with this uppercut into the Flamebringer, just coming in and just stealing it away. You
know what's really funny too? He purposely pulled out the Flamer. He didn't use the uppercut extension into Soulbreak.
Do you want to know why? So he saw the terrain situation, because actually following up, You would have had to have gone in with a vertical here that might not have connected.
And then he's in the zone
And
too
then
long.
I mean, it's like it's just an easy, just like analyze the terrain situation, swap to something that's gonna give you more value.
Yeah.
And it's just second nature as well.
And if the player tap dodges away from the corruption tick damage, they tap dodge into the flamer, which brings them closer to the flamer, which means they take more damage from the flamer. Like I said, TE are a very smart team.
Yeah, no, they have been showing up today and they've been performing extremely well. It feels like it's just neck and neck between TE and FPX at the moment.
Yeah.
They're just, who can do better? You know, the old FPX versus the new FPX, they're just at each other's throats, trying to outdo each other at every corner, at every step they take. But here we are, yet again. You know the drill, ladies and gentlemen. Answer for treasures. Make sure to get your answer to this question into the chat to have a chance at winning a random gift. And make sure to keep an eye on the chat for when you do get chosen out of all of those who answer, that you don't miss out on the fact that you did actually get some.
Yeah.
So the question is, how many kills did this match's MVP get? Was it A, 5, B, 7, C, 6, or D, 4? Make sure to get your answer into the chat to have a chance at winning some cheeky cosmetics to take in.
Yeah, and do make sure to enter this time because you are running out of those chances. In fact, speaking about chances, some of these teams only have one chance. In fact, all of these teams only have one chance left. But before we get into that, we're going to get into this VT.
I actually didn't know about 521 until someone had told me their original name last season.
Team 521 is such an aggressive team. I mean, they come from the SAA region. Everybody knows this is one of those regions that absolutely loves to pound the W key.
Definitely bring a special kind of energy to the game, to the lobby.
Em đã chuẩn bị rất kỹ và dành hết thời gian cho Nanaka và G Cup năm nay. Em rất muốn tham gia giải đấu chuyên nghiệp của NBBL và em nhìn nhận nó một cách rất là nghiêm túc vì đó là ước mơ và đam mê của em. Em sẽ cố gắng đạt được thành tích cao nhất trong G Cup năm nay để mọi người biết đến em và em sẽ cố gắng nhiều hơn nữa.
521 definitely a team to watch out for, but specifically Unique, because Unique qualified for both trios and solos. There's only 3 players that have qualified for both solos and trios for the J Cup. So that's IDK's Newman, Tryhard, and Unique. So is this somebody we need to pay attention to? What do you think?
Đội bọn em đã tham gia 3 lần J Cup và năm trước thì đúng là một thất bại lớn của team em. Thì bọn em đã đạt hạng 16 của chung kết thế giới năm trước, nhưng mà từ đó thì bọn em rút ra được rất nhiều kinh nghiệm và để phát huy bản thân và đồng đội. Và rút kinh nghiệm rất nhiều từ những thất bại và bọn em đã khắc phục nó và phát triển đội vào năm nay. Thì đội em chú trọng vào việc phối hợp và việc giao tiếp nhiều hơn và không có đánh theo kiểu cá nhân nữa. Thì tụi em phối hợp đồng đội nhiều hơn.
And coming from a region that is so hyper aggressive, being your team's shot caller and the support, so you have a broader view of what's going on.
这一局打得要更加的规整，更加的有这个纪律性，而且3个人的这个每一个运营的想法都是已经提前计划好的。
You know, you have to keep your teammates alive while they're running it down just straight head first into teams, getting oogly boogly. You know, you have to keep them alive. You have to keep them in check. Hey, come back, stop, chill. You know.
Tất cả mọi người sẽ là tin tưởng em và nghe em call trong một trận đấu đó, nên là đó là chiến lược của team em. Em sẽ cảm thấy nó rất là hạnh phúc bởi vì đó giống như là một cái ước mơ của em á và ước mơ của team em.
Ước mơ lớn nhất của em khi mà chơi cái game này đó là vô địch thế giới.
Đây, em sẽ học hỏi kinh nghiệm từ những bạn khác và em sẽ cố gắng hết sức.
Mục tiêu của đội em đến với J Cup lần này đó chắc chắn là vị trí quán quân bởi vì bọn em đã dành rất là nhiều thời gian cho Naka. hầu như là tất cả thời gian của bọn em đều dành cho Naka và mục tiêu của tụi em là vô địch. Em có tự tin.
Okay, Dunk. Moment of pressure has reached absolute boiling point as we have reached game number 6. This is the last chance. This is the last match in the group stages of the Naraka Blade Point 2023 J Cup. And for a lot of these players, it is the last opportunity to be able to put enough points up to be able to continue in this tournament.
No, you're absolutely right. And those teams like IDK, who they secure the M. They get a huge game in game number 3, getting more like I'm not sure how much it was, but it was more than 20 points. If they've been able to replicate that, they certainly would be able to take that in and qualify.
Yeah.
But now, after game 4 and 5 not going all that well, now it's make or break. Now they need to get that dub. Now they need to get the MVP.
Now they need to do better, but you know what you need to do? You need to make sure that you're answering this prediction. Go into that game client and make sure to get your answer in. Will the top scoring team lineup of this next match include Viper, Ning? Will it be a yes or will it be no? And well, do you know what? I feel like we can probably help a lot of these teams out with this one. There's still a lot of hero points. When we last saw these teams, they had 9 hero points. When we last saw trios with game number 6, everyone held enough hero points in the back pocket for a Sand Siphon composition. And spoilers! Sand Siphon does not contain Viper.
No, it doesn't. And on top of that, I would not be surprised if quite a few teams just went for the safe transformer pick for the final game. You know, it wouldn't surprise me at all if IDK opted to go for the transformers final game, as it is possibly their most comfortable team composition. And if they're looking to pop off to the extent that they can actually qualify and get that MVP, then it wouldn't surprise me if they went to the Transformers. They've done it before in the EU tournaments.
Yes.
They actually came in, final game, they needed an absolute tear of a game to be able to take it. And they did it. They got a 35 to 40 point game or something along those lines with Transformers in game 6. And they took it home. So potentially we could see a repeat of that, but it's not EU, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
It is the world stage, the J Cup stage, and I cannot wait to see what these teams are going to be pulling out for the final game. There are a few who I feel as though we can safely say it may be cooked, ladies and gentlemen. It might be over. It might be just
a little burnt.
Just a little bit. Just a little crispy, you know. It might be over.
Actually, I would say FPX and TE are burnt because, I mean, they're 100% cooking on that leaderboard. They are just absolutely wrecking a lot of these teams in the lobby. For some of these other teams, unfortunately, a little bit lower in the leaderboard, it's looking a little bit more raw, as it does seem like there's a couple of struggles. Maybe it's a little bit of nerves. I think there's a lot of additional pressure coming through. The meta as well, not really having settled before we came into this week, has been throwing a lot of these teams because they don't really know what to expect, what to be able to practice, and learn how to be able to counter. We've also got the fan coming on through, making things incredibly difficult. You think winning a 1v1 in solos against a fan is hard. You throw in 2 additional players for that teammate to have access to be able to create distractions, to be able to disguise the pride of the RMB on that fan, and it just becomes infinitely harder to be able to keep a track of. It's why we see things like the Tessa getting way more value in trios in comparison to solos. Both the V1 and the V2 can find a lot more openings because you purely don't know when it's going to come out, as opposed to a much quieter, more isolated fight where you're solely focusing on that Tessa and trying to figure out when it's coming through.
Absolutely, but ladies, you know what time it is. It's time to get oogly boogly. It's game number 6, our final day of trios group stage in our 2023 J-Cup in Shanghai, and I am so ready. Give me something spicy, or is it just gonna be sandy? Oh, DPCQ! Let's go! Come on, that's what I'm talking about, baby. Come on, Mushroom. Show me.
Have you not learned?
No.
Have you not learned?
No.
Dunk, the rule of thumb. Never talk about a potentially off-the-wall composition until there's at least 30 seconds left in Hero Lock. That's twice! You know what's even funnier? It's the exact same position on the borders when you fell for the Hardy and Taka.
So the reason why I thought it could potentially be like his pick is because this team, Mushroom, actually is, I think he's a fire dog. He dabbles with the fire dog over in NA. You know, he likes to pick it up every now and then just for fun, in ranked as well. And I genuinely thought, hey, it's their last game. I highly doubt they're actually going to even come close to qualifying. They might just pull out Taka for fun, really, for the memes, for the fire dog. But unfortunately not. But hey, we are seeing a lot more of what we expected. The Sand Siphon, the Takeda to Mulk and Sipping. It is to be expected.
Yeah, there's still a couple chances of a Viper MVP though. I think 3 teams are running the Tessa, Viper, and Wu Chen variation of Attack on Titan. There's a lot of these teams trying to land spread out. Some of these other teams that are going to be prioritizing kills, trying to drop onto others. There's VNGC trying to find some of that loot as quickly as possible. They're running Cannonball. Roy He on the ferry. We have seen them run this composition before. They are incredibly close to being able to qualify. In fact, Lobby 28, who do not play today, are currently sitting at 58.8, VNGC 57.3. All they need is less than 1 point to be able to find that qualification. I just hope that we're going to see a little bit more coordination in terms of how they play around that Farrier V3, especially to set up that Yodo. As we're going to see, FPX is immediately taking a fight against HLG. Zhao Hu pulling back so that Dunkwing can get in the forward position. Commits the Stoneform throw out. Will be able to find a lot of damage. Dunkwing now with the charge right click looking to find that opening. Zhao Hu incredibly low, trying to fall back behind the distraction of the Takeda. Dunkwing with the parry into repulse damage. Finding the kill onto PPY. Tessa V1 gonna be coming, wait, V3 coming on through. Immediately hitting those players as MVP gonna be coming in with that jump into Zhao Hu, finally taking him down. MVP. Third party. Yeah. Very smart stuff coming through.
doing a pretty decent job in that fight, but MVP coming in from the third party. But here we are over at VNGC and DPCQ. VNGC seemingly making short work of DPCQ alongside their friend, the Moonbane, dropping it down very early, nice and early, just getting it out there and securing an early win for themselves. I'm not sure if they picked up all 3 members of DPCQ.
It's enough. They qualify.
Wait, they've
Lobby 28.
They're in.
Yeah. Lobby 28
Lobby
doesn't play today.
28 is
VNGC literally just needed to get a couple of kills. That's why they prioritized that Bane's Breath. They knew if they bought a Bane's Breath and dropped it on a team, they would be able to isolate the fight, stop a third party, push into that fight. Even if they get eliminated in that fight, they're still going to be able to potentially find 1 kill and qualify. And as a result, they make it into the top 12.
That is certainly very unfortunate for Lobby 28. They must have been sweating all day, hoping and praying that these teams didn't surpass them. Very unfortunately, they do not manage to qualify into the grand finals. It is what it is.
Well, VNGC are still in the hot seat, though. This is the problem.
They are indeed.
MVP also have 2 kills. MVP also very close behind VNGC. And HLG, one of our other teams, still playing today, not really catchable in 1 game. 86.2, so either VNGC or MVP, they're the ones that are going to be making it forward into Chengdu, and as a result, both of these teams not holding anything back, playing aggressive from start to finish, as unfortunately 5-1 going to be losing Akame as VNGC. Here they are, they're going to be looking for every single one of these fights, especially when they still have those rebirth charms open to them. TE's VVV coming in with the Viper V1 drop down, doesn't find any connection as everyone was already running away from the Bane's Breath drop coming on through. As a result, VVV not going to have that ultimate, and unfortunately it doesn't isolate anyone in the Bane's Breath drop either.
No, unfortunately not. TE, the jump there, or perhaps they were a little bit late to pull the trigger there. Unfortunate for them, but fortunately for VNGC, they continue to pick up more and more kills. They're taking them up to 4, trying to create a comfortable cushion so that they do not get surpassed by the likes of MVP nor IDK, who potentially, if they manage to create themselves a massive pop-off MVP game, they could still stand a chance, but it is going to be a tall order.
Ooh, mines.
NGC Mines manages to throw out that F2. Ooh, he's doing work, but unfortunately it's not enough. He does get taken down. Teammate as Barney's trying to come in. He gets a huge parry onto Rosemary. Rosemary getting absolutely obliterated, and now KLA are on the back foot and they have to try and disengage. VNGC Mines does get rezzed, and that takes them up to 6 eliminations.
63.3 points now. VNGC, like you said, creating that distance between themselves and MVP. MVP, Sand Siphon composition. Hong, unfortunately, 1 shove left to his name. We're even going to see it invested to try to push HLG away from putting that pressure onto his backline. Tessa ultimate gonna kick on out. PPY also taking the opportunity, looking to try and use that lockdown to convert into the Viper V1. Have they been able to isolate one of these players? Yes, they have. MVP BK on the back foot. PPY, however, does get sent absolutely packing by that fan coming on through. In fact, it does so much damage. Fatmook's actually able to pick up one of those players, and it is enough. HLG drop one of their bodies, have to use the Wuchen teleport to be able to reposition. MVP survive the pressure put onto them by the Tessa composition.
Indeed, but you want to know what I just noticed?
Oh.
IDK has been finally taken down and fully eliminated from this lobby. Unfortunate to see. IDK is their hopes and dreams. They did manage to secure the MVP in that earlier game, and they will definitely be happy with that, but sadly they are not going to be able to take that into the grand finals. They are now eliminated fully, and they will not be qualifying, unfortunately. Speaking of IDC, they've not really had the best of days coming into this group stage. Unfortunately, they're trying their best, but it looks as though they too are going to get taken down here. Fortunately, they still have their reses to continue into this game, but they are definitely sitting on the lower end. And definitely are not in contention for qualification at this point, I would say. But MVP, as we've been saying, MVP is at 53.6. They already have 4 kills. But BNGC, they are on the hunt. They are out for blood. TE take 2 with the Viper ult coming in, and they actually get the stun. Dropping down on top of VNGC. This is not what they wanted. Ooh, no. Do they have their reses? I think they do.
Yeah.
Thankfully for VNGC, they are going to be able to res. But TE picking up another few eliminations, taking themselves up to 5.
Yep, second time's the ticket there. VVV, perfect drop down isolation with that Viper V1 into follow-up damage on that pole sword. You don't have to worry about being parried out of it. You can fully convert in with the V1 rather than the V2. That 5 seconds done, more than enough time to be able to set up the triple charge. As we're going to see those Realm of Yangs start to spawn on up. VNGC, unfortunately, having to just try and recover after getting third-partied by TE, could potentially run into, is that HLG up towards north of Sunwings? That does indeed look like VNGC are about to run in to HLG, as it does look like MVP gonna be playing for survival, knowing that the Realm of Yangs are going to be spawning on up. They do have that Sun Siphon composition LTZ on that blue armor. On that zip, do MVP try and make an aggressive play, or do they play for consistent safety? Because they're going to know that VNGC have started popping off. They're going to be sweating to try and catch up, as BBE and DPCQ are actually going to be the 2 teams that take our first Realm of Yang. Fat Milk going for the skirmish, looking to try and set up the convert into Assault Smolder. Does manage to find the fire tick connection onto BBE's Mushroom, and as a result we're going to see him actually having to pull a little bit further back defensively. Fat Milk now coming in with that Takeda ultimate, looking to try and keep Mushroom away from his team, flashing the red so that Mushroom's not able to convert into any of the charge damage coming through from that longsword. There's the horizontal into the back of Fat Milk. Hasn't, however, been able to stop BBE from running Dengzai incredibly low. We're going to see Ivan taking pressure. Fat Milk with the RMB into tap dodge away from the Furin Shield. Coming through! Someone landed the Dragon Slayer and set up the Nezza's Might coming through from DPCQ. We're going to see both Takedas getting to actually hit in with the F1 and find the conversion. BBE incredibly low, and it's BBE that are able to come out on top. Ivan with the pole sword, able to find the kills, 2 at the exact same time, Duncan. That's an absolute freebie.
That was very well played from both of those teams there. DPCQ putting up a very good fight in this Realm of Yang against BBE. One of the teams that have been coming in from the SEA region, performing extremely well, currently sitting in top 6 as well. Been extremely aggressive, have been securing themselves MVPs, and they've been doing very well. Speaking of MVP, though,
speaking of the opposite of aggressive, that's MVP.
Yeah, exactly. They're sat in a bush, and they are chilling, and they are waiting for the zone to move. Very understandable at this point in the tournament. But yeah, I did also want to note as well that King from DPCQ is actually coming in for the final game. He had not been playing up until this point and is now jumping in for the final game. It is nice to see him on the stage. And let's see what they can do with it. King, I know he's a very strong player as well, so I'm sure they could make something happen. And based off of that Realm of Yang performance, we will have to see. It looks as though they are grappling desperately over to this bounty that they've picked up for themselves. Going to try and engage onto seemingly IDC over here. Lexon has Merciless Havoc already. That is definitely a very nice trade to have at this point in the game, but they are absolutely obliterating IDC already. Brandoro getting cooked up against this sand wall, taking so much damage. His zipping doing so much work from the dragon-like might as well, keeping him going. King gets popped from the zipping. Still alive though. VNGC coming in for that third party. As you said, Mushroom, he's pretty low, but he's managed to find the rooftop for the moment. IDC still managing to stay alive. They are all still going, but it looks as though DPCQ did lose a member, unfortunately, and now due to the fact that they had Yang completion, that member is not resable, and if they want to bring him back, they're going to have to find a rebirth chance.
This is huge for IDC though. IDC have 3 Soldiers of Destiny at the moment. Windspout, Merciless, and Dragon-like, as we're going to see T's VVV coming in again with the V1!
What is this?
VVE snag isolated. They drop the Tumultuous ultimate to try to peel for him. VVV actually going down incredibly low. Almost did go down to the pulse sword damage. The peel coming through absolutely perfect from BBE as DPCQ kite VNGC onto the ballista. VNGC not able to get away from the opening shot in time. King trying now to just sit on the tower and look for that scale rush. Unfortunately for him, he's got the staff who tries to use the focus strike movement to carry himself far enough away, but he's too close. VNGC able to find the parry and kill as a result. Mines now locking DPCQ's mushroom into that clank. Mines committing the Yoda ultimate. That's a little bit of VM, as it is just 3 of those players trying to take Mushroom down. I guess they just really wanted the kill.
Yep.
They know they're so close. They're on the cusp of being able to qualify, and every single kill is going to count.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I think especially in Immortal War, because of one of the main differences from Immortal War, a little bit of education again, if you don't know this, Immortal War has lots of key differences between that itself and Herald's Trial, the typical ranked game mode in just that we all get to play. One of them is that Soul Blooms give double the resources, that being health, armor, and also rage, your ultimate chance. You get double, meaning that in Immortal War, the rule of thumb is it's better to just use your ult to confirm a kill that you might need to actually qualify than to try and greed, keep your ultimate in your back pocket.
Yeah, because they're not going in the realm of Yang, right? With how VNGC have been playing safely, where if you utilize that ult too early, you would be punished and not be able to go through. As BBE definitely not going to be able to go through. They will be able to find the kill onto 521's Unique. However, that V1 from the Tesla going to be enchanting. That Takeda, no peel available. Phoenix Blast coming through from Exi's Longsword, looking to try and lock these players down. BBE, Fat Milk with the Flamer. JL double, oh no, it's not JL's double Phoenix. In fact, both of these teams have Phoenixes. We're going to see One Fang takes too much pressure using that Wuchen teleport. No one goes down, but you can see how low AS actually is. Both One Fang and Exi are going to stay in the fight long enough so that the Tester is going to be able to take a reach, that 1 shield potion, 1 vitality, and then immediately rubber band back into the fight with the next throw of the V1. F1 to knock them away from being able to interact with the urn. Fat Milk having to just sacrifice his players and use the Assault Smolder to make himself a little bit shinier as he grapple disengages. IDC Zay unfortunately now caught against the ropes. We're going to see the Tumultuous ultimate being invested. MVP need these kills too. They are going to commit to this fight. They want the Morris Blessing to be able to scale into late game, and IDC is going to pay the price. Zay goes down. Hong throwing out the R&B on the fan. We're going to see the Merciless Havoc come through. The Dragon-like Might connection attempted off of the back of the stagger from Brandoro, but he's not able to clank the R&B in time. Hong picks up another, and now it's just a 1v3. Lexan pushed against the rock, will be able to tap dodge through the players of MVP. I don't think he's going to live for long, however, as he tried to go onto that staff. He tried to use the lunge on the left click that would allow him to get a little bit more distance, but MVP intercept before he's able to pull the animation off, and IDC go out of the lobby too. IDK and IDC now both out of contention to be able to move forward in the tournament. VNGC, however, very much alive with the chance of being able to continue. Going to be taking this fight, playing incredibly aggressively. 521's Unique looking to run away, disappear behind that Tumultuous ultimate, but Roy He tracks him down as it ends. We're going to see the ankle break come through from the LMB on that spear. Unique overholding the vertical, so Roy He is not able to find the connection back into the fight. The 1-2, Roy He going to utilize the F to be able to reposition and get himself into that mech. Unique now under fire as MVP pick up their 7th kill off screen.
Very nice for MVP. They are bound to be very happy for that. VNGC trying their best to close out as many kills as they can. they still have a they're just kind of chilling at this point. They've gotten quite a few kills, but still they want to get as many as they can. 5-2-1, Unique desperately trying to stay alive here, but unfortunately he's just not gonna be able to do so. Although they are still found to be pretty happy with themselves. They have qualified, it seems, sitting on 101 points. VNGC sitting on 12 kills now, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
There are only 13 people left alive
It's
right
going
now.
to final zone. It's going to kill conversion. It's going to multiplier. MVP are on 7, VNGC are on 12. Both of these teams are popping off.
I mean, there are only 5 teams alive right now. This
Yeah.
is crazy. It's actually crazy. They are going to... Thing is, though, MVP is going to have to pick up quite a few kills.
Yes.
They're going to have to...
Well,
I mean,
ideally they run
eliminate
into VNGC.
and they take them down, and then they continue to kill the rest of the lobby. But do you know who else is still in the lobby? I'm pretty sure...
TE and FBX.
It's gonna be a rough one. I mean, MVP, they definitely seem pretty confident in themselves, but they're still running up against these veterans, against these absolute beasts. It's not going to be an easy task. The NGC, though, they are looking very comfortable right now. They've gone to the shop, they're going shopping, getting some of these soul jades. They're going for those. It looks as though they rolled that purple halberds. Now, again, another thing that you may or may not know is that you can not only have increased resources from the soul blooms, you can also buy random purple weapons, both ranged and melee, from the shop, as well as with your random soul jades that you can buy from the shop. They are also minimum purple rarity, minimum epic rarity, meaning that you can get so much value out of rolling those jades. That is why you see so many teams prioritizing getting as much money as they can so that they can go to the shop and get these Jades of Destiny.
MVP also going to be going to the shop and rolling. Both of these teams, they know if it does go down to that final zone, Soul Jades are going to be absolutely clutch in being able to guarantee that you're on the team that no one turns on to. It's a little bit more pressing for VNGC, given the fact that they're running the Yodo cannonball, right? They're not running that sand siphon composition that we do see from MVP come through. If you see that Zip, if you see the Takeda, if you see the Tumult, all of those are heroes who have the means of being able to navigate that pressure. Cannonball, on the other hand, the way that they navigate that pressure is by ulting, and that, unfortunately, the later on you go into those final zones, becomes a break in case of emergency, right? You do not want to hit that button too early, especially if it's just the posturing up range phase, because just like we see in solos, when things like the Farrier pops the V3, everyone jumps on her afterwards because they all know it's vulnerable. That window to be able to take this composition out of the mix, that opens up. And more importantly, you have so much stagger with the cannonball, right? Not just CC, but genuine knockback. Both the Yoda, the Yushan, and the Farrier all have knockback attached to their ultimate. As a result, it is within these teams' best interest, especially if you're running Sand Siphon, to knock them out of the lobby the second that you see them before that zone can collapse in and they can use that CC. VNGC going to be using that CC. Water going incredibly low in the opening of that fight. Minds coming in with the F2, still holding on to the ultimate. We're going to see the Yushan Terracotta Warrior being used to try and put this pressure onto the members of FPX. So Minds is going to be able to look for the heal. Unfortunately, he gets stuck. MVP run into the team that they need to eliminate to have the best possible chance at being able to qualify. Minds gets stuck inside that Yushan Wisp, and he's so much damage from the Venom Tip on the repeating crossbow. He's still got the Yoda ultimate. The Terracotta Warrior going to be dropping out in a matter matter of moments. They've still got the V3 as well. MVP coming in with the fire tick, find the grapple cancel onto the Yoda. There's the V3. We're going to see the wind spite on top of it. We're going to see the mech immediately being utilized by Asborn. The Yoda ultimate also coming on through. This fight could decide who moves forward. He falls early on. MVP with the numbers advantage. Hong coming in with that flamer doing so much damage if it finds the connection onto Asborn, and as a result that Ferrier cannot stay in the cannon form. It ignores all of that shield. It goes directly into the fire tick of the Ferrier, and as a result we're going to see Asborn incredibly low, taken down. MVP 61.9 points. VNGC, however, minds. They see the fight going south. They know other teams are in the area. They know the potential for the third party is there. With the way that this composition works, it is all in. It is feast or famine. You have to burn all 3 of your ultimates to be able to pressure Sand Siphon enough into utilizing that V2 early on. And as a result, they have a backup plan. Mines slips crucially away. VNGC 3 kills ahead of MVP. All Mines has to do is stay alive, unnoticed by these other teams. However, that Yodo, that ultimate, that F2, it is great to being able to isolate some of these players down, but it is not the F1 variation. You do not get to teleport to where you throw that blade. If you get locked down, you're not going to be able to utilize the combo break unless you've already got the F2 activated. You're going to get a little bit of distance, but it is nowhere near the ankle break potential that the F1 provides. It is now going to come down to the absolute wire between MVP and VNGC, and Mines is in such a huge place of pressure because look where he's going to be right next to the Morris Blessing is going to spawn directly next to that Yodo.
This is a bit too close for comfort. Mines, he's sweating in his boots, right? He is trying to not move and then taking his fingers off the keyboard, ready to go if he needs to get out of there, just in case he does get spotted. Fortunately, there are no red bounties, there are no challenge bounties going around, no Mystic Might, no nothing, so it's going to come down to whether or not somebody literally checks the bush. You're gonna have to hope for his sake that nobody does. But the question remains, are there enough kills picked up
someone's got
MVP to actually come away with the win?
Well, they get one.
They get one more.
They get one onto PPY. Now, however, they have to take the fight against JL. JL starting things off with the Tesla V1, trying to find the connection. The F1. This is a team that just got the Morris Blessing and the legendary armor within, and the confidence shows. It is. The CC into the
triple flame bringers.
Oh my goodness! Double flamer coming through from JL. MVP getting absolutely cooked. JL with that Tesla V1 able to back on off. Mines, what are you doing here?
He's coming in.
Mines wants to try and shock these kills. He's thrown the F2.
He's coming in.
The kill. MVP. Hong goes down. Mines goes down. Does MVP have another player? Yes, they do. MVP BK now getting turned onto by JL. It's not enough. There aren't enough kills. There aren't enough points.
There aren't enough points to be had, unfortunately, for MVP. They put up a great fight at the end there, but it was not enough. That is so unfortunate.
It's so close. The problem is they can't afford to do anything other than what they do.
Yeah.
MVP know. They know that VNGC popped off in that lobby. They know that they have to go for those kills. They know they can see how many players are left alive as well. So they know that they have to get aggressive. They know that they have to try and start instigating those fights so that they can claim those kills. And they do. It starts off perfectly. They get a kill onto HLG's PPY, but because they're out in the open, they draw the attention of JL. And unfortunately for them, JL just opened a Morris Blessing and walked away with Legendary Armor, Legendary Flamer, and the double Flamer. I will keep saying this because we are very much in a meta where heroes